Before you rush and start studying for the SAT and taking the SAT, it helps to actually create an SAT strategy in advance. Many people ask me, well, why do I need to do that? I know I have to take the SAT. So it makes more sense to me to just start studying and going ahead and taking the test at least once to see how I stand, and if I need to, I'll retake it. Well, actually, there are many more options available to you than you may think. For example, there's an alternative test called the ACT or the ACT, which you can take in lieu of the SAT. Most universities that you're considering applying to will accept either the SAT or the ACT. There are actually some key differences between these two tests, and in some cases, some students will actually perform better on one versus the other. So it helps to take a diagnostic in advance, decide which test is more appropriate for you, and then focus on studying for that test. With the ACT as well, there's another option where many universities will accept the ACT with the optional writing in lieu of the SAT and the subject test. What does that mean? Well, rather than taking 3 tests or 4 tests under the SAT, you're actually just taking 1 under the ACT. It saves you time and money and gives you more opportunity to focus on building other skills that universities are looking for, such as leadership and teamwork. Even within the SAT, if you find that you're actually performing better on the SAT, there are other options. For example, certain schools will accept the SAT subject test in lieu of the SAT-1. So it helps to know what these schools are looking for in advance, so you don't end up overstudying for tests unnecessarily. There are also a fair number of schools, 800 in total, that have gone SAT optional. What exactly does that mean? Well, these schools don't actually require you to submit your SAT. You can take the test and submit the score if you choose to, but it's entirely optional. You do not need to do so. They will look at your high school scores instead, as they believe that they are strong predictors of future college success. So you may not need to study for the SAT at all. In fact, 32 of the top 100 liberal arts colleges now have gone SAT optional, and we keep tracking it over the years to see how many are going to continue to do so. Thirdly, it's important to see how admissions officers are going to view your SAT scores if you take it more than once. Their policies are actually fairly clear, so it helps to check them in advance. Some schools will look at your highest score on a given test date. Other schools may look at your highest scores in each section or across different dates and actually add them up together to create a cumulative highest score. So it's good to know that, so you make sure that you don't just rush in and take the test as a great way to take a diagnostic and then find that you might have got your chances. Another option, if your school offers it, is to take the PSAT or the preliminary SAT. You can take that starting as early as class 9 or class 10 and see how well you're doing, and it'll give you lots of great diagnostics. Those scores don't count, and so when you go and take the SAT for the first time, you've still had a lot of opportunity to actually practice in as close an environment to the SAT. So my advice is, create an SAT strategy before you start, research the schools, what they're looking for, and then start planning what it is that you're going to study for in advance, so you don't waste your time and money on taking tests that you may not need to.